Start pharmacokinetics. We already completed our bits important revision part. So now for NEET PG or next. So this is normally from our textbook. So what is pharmacokinetics? It is nothing but the study of drug movements, because pharma means about medicines. Kinetics means movement. Kinetic movement. So it is nothing but the study of drug movement. So it mainly involves the transport of drug which is across the biomembrane or the bilayer. So what is this biomembrane or bilayer? So every cell in our body has this biomembrane or bilayer, mainly made up of lipid bilayer. It is having hydrophilic towards where the fluid is present. Philic, you can understand, hydrophilic where the water side is present. So at that side there is hydrophilic, and middle it is made up of lipids mainly, which is hydrophobic. We know fats, lipids, so these are hydrophobic, they don't like water, so they are in the middle structure forming like this. And you can understand this is outer side, that is extracellular fluid is towards this cell, and this is cytosol, that is towards the inner side. So in between this lipids bilayer we are having a transmembrane protein which is surrounding in our membrane, that is it is present all over the membrane. This is known as transmembrane protein, also paracellular route, that is substances can pass through this also. This is an interesting protein. So this is an extrinsic protein which is just present towards outer side. And also you can see to this extrinsic protein many carbohydrates are attached, and also to our interesting proteins many carbohydrates are attached. So this is how a biological membrane looks like. So now you can easily understand that it involves the transport of, so whenever a person has taken a drug, right, so the drug need to cross this all this lipid layers in whichever organ or whichever the cell it need to pass. So it is the bilayer, so that they should be highly lipid soluble to enter any kind of layer. So the pharmacokinetics mainly deals with this main process, like first the drug need to be absorbed, next it to be distributed, next here also metabolism is there, we are forgot to write. So absorption, metabolism, absorption, distribution, metabolism and excretion. So these are the four processes which are mainly involved in our pharmacokinetics. So today we are going to see only about our introduction, which will cover almost every part of a textbook. So we are going to see here introduction and also absorption process, and next video we'll see about distribution, right. So now let us start. So the drugs which are mainly transported by passive diffusion and filtration process, and also specialized transport. So first let us see what is passive diffusion. I think everyone know, we already studied in our physiology, histology, etc. So passive diffusion is nothing but we doesn't need any ATP or any energy, doesn't need, just we need a concentration gradient. So we know that for example in this membrane only we can see this is higher concentration gradient area, and this is lower concentration area. So the substance can easily move from high concentration to low concentration. So this is nothing but the passive diffusion. So we don't need any energy, only concentration gradient is required. So it is nothing but the direction along the concentration gradient. And remember that the passive diffusion is the most common process for major drugs. So now most drugs are like weak electrolytes, like ionization. So what is this ionization and ionization? Let us understand. So drugs are mainly like ionized means they are having charge, unionized means they are not having charge. Remember that ionized drugs are not allowed inside, that is they are charged, and even the membrane and their proteins are charged. So this charge get attract towards each other, and they just bound there, and they are not going into circulation. Then that is not called as absorption. So these are waste. So always ionized are not absorbed, but the unionized substances are easily absorbed through the membrane in case of drugs. So most drugs are weak electrolytes, that is their ionization is mainly pH dependent, and strong electrolytes completely ionized at the acidic or alkaline pH. So what is this pH, pK, all those we'll also understand. So ionization of a weak acid, that is you can represent it like HA, that is pH is equal to pKa of log of A by HA. So what is this A by HA? Here A means it is unionized, and here HA means ionized. So this is the formula which represents that pH is equal to log of A by HA. So pKa is equal to the negative log of the acidic dissociation, that is constant for the weak electrolytes. So if the concentration of unionized is equal to concentration of ionized, that is when unionized by ionized is equal to 1. Since log 1 is equal to 0, so pH is equal to pKa. So remember that whenever there is unionized is equal to concentration of ionized, that is nothing but pH is equal to pKa. That is the drug here is 50% ionized and 50% unionized. So pH is, for example, if the pH is increased by 1, then how the formula looks like is unionized by ionized is equal to 1, so it is equal to 10, because log values we exchange, so 10. But if the pH is reduced by 1, then how the formula would be is unionized by ionized is equal to 1 by 10. So these are just like formulas we need to remember to calculate different sums. We are also having some sums related to the pharmacokinetics. So once let us see the process of absorption, distribution, storage, excretion. So absorption, the drug is mainly in the dosage form, right? We take some amount of dose like 100 milligrams like that. So next they release, that is the drug in the solution. We know our body is aqueous in our stomach or intestine. In aqueous medium actually the drug is released. If we take, this is all about if we take a drug orally, right? So distribution and storage, how it takes place, that is the site of action. It is bound with the proteins or membrane, or sometimes it may also be free. And in storage tissue it will be free or else bound. If it is free and the drug, then it is sometimes protein bound, or it may be in the blood, or it may have some metabolites. So biotransformation is nothing but which takes place in the liver, that is the drug is undergoing the first pass metabolism. So here what happens is some of the drug is broken down, and the only some part of the drug is reaching to the circulation. And next coming to the excretion. So remember, water soluble drugs are mainly excreted, that is when in liver biotransformation takes place, some of the drugs become water soluble and they are easily excreted. So excretion, you know, by means of urine, bile, feces, sweat, saliva, but the main excretion is controlled by kidney, as we know. So now we have discussed these formulas also. Next, the weak acidic drugs are mainly, so weak acidic drugs are the salts with cations. So remember that weak acidic drugs are mainly acting upon salt with cations. That is example, you can take SOD phenobarbital, SOD sulfadiazine, and POT penicillin. So all these are ionized more at alkaline pH. As these are acidic drug, they are ionizing more at alkaline pH, and the scale change in the one and scale change in pH causes tenfold change in the ionization. So what happens in the case of weak basic drugs, let us understand. So this is all about weak drugs, weak acidic drugs, weak basic drugs. If the weak basic drugs, the salts, they act upon with anions, that is example, you can take atropine sulfate, ephedrins, HCl, chloroquine phosphate, etc. So here they are ionizing more at the acidic pH, but they are ionizing more at alkaline. As their basic drugs, opposite, they ionize more with acidic pH. Here they are acidic drugs, so they ionize with alkaline pH. So they are lipid insoluble ions don't diffuse, and the pH differ cause different distribution of weak acidic and basic drugs on the two sides of a membrane. So now let us understand about acidic drugs. So in acidic drugs we have our aspirin. Aspirin pK's value is 3.5. It is unionized at the acidic gastric pH. So unionized means what? It is now easily absorbed. Then as it is acidic drug, it is easily present in the acidic gastric pH and absorbed in the stomach. And bases like atropine have a pK of 10, and these are ionized. If they are ionized, they are absorbed only in the intestine. So unionized form of acidic drug cross the membrane of gastric cell and revert to ionized form in the cell of pH 7 and pass to the extracellular fluid, and the cell ion trap in, that is weak electrolyte, cross the membrane to encounter the pH, so not able to escape. So here you can take example like aspirin, which damage the mucosal cells, and the basic drugs are mainly having high concentration intracellularly, that is pH is 7 versus 7.4 of the plasma. Acidic drugs are having more ionized and in alkaline urine, and they don't back diffuse to kidney and excrete faster, and the basic drugs are excreted faster if the urine is acidified. So lipid soluble are non-electrolytes, example ethanol, readily cross the membrane and transport is pH independent. So by this what we understand mainly is nothing but acidic drugs are in the acidic medium and basic drugs are in the basic medium. That is acidic drugs are unionized in the acidic medium. That is unionized drugs can easily pass to the stomach and they can absorb easily there, and mainly Unionized basic drugs are mainly absorbed in our small intestine, but whatever may be, most of the drugs are absorbed in our small intestine because of its large surface area. Even acidic unionized drugs may also pass from the stomach to the intestine and get absorbed there. So next we are having different process like filtration. So here we can check out the diagram to understand that concept, that is influence of pH difference on two sides of a biological membrane on the distribution of weakly acidic drug with a pK of 6. So you can say this is a pH of 5, this is pH of 7. Here both drugs are unionized, so they are easily transported from the membrane, and here they get ionized. In the pH 5 the 10 is ionized into 1, and here the 10 is ionized into 100. So the total is here 11, that is 10 plus 1 11, here 100 plus 10 it is 110, so total. So this is how we can calculate the ionized and unionized together in a type of cell. Now let us see the filtration process, that is nothing but the drug passing by the aqueous pore. As we have aqueous pore as a transmembrane protein in our any cell membrane, so the drug passes through this aqueous pores in the membrane paracellularly. It is accelerated by hydroxynamic flow of solvent by hydrostatic or osmotic pressure, and the gradient example in capillaries of the glomeruli. Filtration takes place mainly in our glomerulus. So lipids insoluble drugs cross the membrane by filtration. So this is important. Lipid insoluble drugs or water soluble drugs can easily transport by a filtration membrane. So the majority of cells are intestinal mucosa, RBC, small pores. So they are having small pores of 4 angstroms, and the drugs with the molecular weights greater than 100 or 200 cannot pass, of course, because they are having very small pores. So except capillaries of brain, because the capillaries of brain are having large amount of pores, about 40 angstrom, and most of the drugs like albumin can also filter by them. So it is having the capillaries of brain are having many capillaries pores when compared with our glomerular filtration pores. So diffusion of drugs in the capillaries by rate of blood flow through them, and rather than lipid solubility of drug or pH of the medium. So what they are saying is, in capillaries, the diffusion of drug is mainly dependent on the rate of blood flow, but not the lipid solubility of the drug or a pH of the medium. So irrespective of the pH of the medium and the solubility of the drug, it is mainly dependent on the rate of blood flow. Next, coming to the specialized transport. So what are the specialized transports? They are like carrier mediated or by pinocytosis. We know pinocytosis like fluid drinking, and carrier mediated means they require a facilitated protein or carrier. So let us see the carrier transport. In the carrier transport, what happens is the carrier binds with the drugs. So here the carriers are like also known as ionophores, which transport the substance outside to the inside of the cell membrane or any organ. So here the carrier is bound with the drug and translocate inside of the membrane. So the carriers for the polar molecules are mainly hydrophilic, and they are present in groups with the hydrophobic coating. They are like for polar molecules, what happens is these are like hydrophilic substances but having outer hydrophobic coating. So this carrier transport is mainly specific, it is saturable, and it is also competitively inhibited by analogs which utilize the same carrier. So if they are using same carrier, they competitively inhibited by the analogs. Next, coming to, so this specialized transport, that is carrier transport, is of two types, like active transport and facilitated diffusion. So we know active transport is against the concentration gradient and need the energy, so in it is inhibited by the metabolic poisons, and examples here which are transported by active transport are levodopa along with methyl dopa. So these are absorbed by the gut by aromatic amino acids transport process. And next, coming to the facilitated diffusion, here we know it doesn't require any energy, but it is also taking place along the concentration gradient and facilitated mainly by the proteins, as the name of this process. So example, drugs in the brain, chloride brixes also have this facilitated diffusion. And next, coming to the non-specific active transport, it is mainly taking place in the renal tubules, hepatic sinusoids. Here the different mechanism is taking place for the organic acids and bases. That is mainly transport process. So next, coming to pinocytosis, is a transport via the vesicles. We know for the proteins, big molecules, only a little transport of most drugs. Actually most drugs are not involved in this process, so only little of them transport by this process. Next, coming to absorption. Absorption is nothing but, so this is the main process now we want to discuss, that is absorption, whereas the drug is entering into circulation is nothing but called as absorption. So here we are having the aqueous Solubility. So aqueous solubility is nothing but the solid drug need to dissolve in a watery substance in our body. That is, less water soluble drugs are like aspirin, grisophylline. These are like rate of dissolution is mainly dependent on rate of absorption. So watery drug have high amount of absorption than solid or oily drugs. Yes, we know, because our body inside have watery environment, so watery water can easily dissolve and having a great amount of absorption. Next, coming to concentration. So passive transport depend on the concentration gradient. We know that is concentration drug is faster absorbed than the dilute drug. Yeah, if we take any drug in high concentrated, then it easily absorbs when compared with dilute drug. And the area where it is larger, that is having a larger absorption. For example, in intestine, as we discussed, having large amount of surface area, so large amount of absorption. Next, coming to vascularity. The circulation maintains the concentration gradients across the membrane by removing the drug from the site of absorption. So what they are saying is, if there is having more amount of blood flow, then the drug absorbs can be easier. So coming to the types of, we take the drug that is by oral route, by subcutaneous, intramuscular and topical sites. So let us understand. So if we take any drug by orally, that is from our mouth, that is non-ionized lipid soluble drugs are taken that are having a high amount of absorption. As we discussed, example we have ethanol. It is reaching the stomach, intestine, and it is directly proportional to the lipid and the water partition coefficient. So acidic drug examples are like salicylates, barbiturates. These are unionized in the acidic gastric juice and absorbed mainly from the stomach. So basic drugs are like morphine, quinine. These are ionized and they are absorbed in the duodenum. And the particle size in the solid dose is the rate of dissolution by absorption. And the most common site of absorption is small intestine, even for the acidic drugs sometimes. So tetracycline with the calcium in the milk. So sometimes what happens, the drugs which are taken with some food substances cause some reactions, like if the tetracycline is taken with the calcium in the milk, it causes poorer absorption, and better to use drugs in an empty stomach mostly, because without any reactions. Highly ionized drugs like streptomycin, nestogen are poorly absorbed orally. And the drugs may also overcome acid lability, gastric irritancy, brief duration of acid action problems. Example, penicillin G is acidic and insulin peptidases, that is, as in acidic environments, penicillin G can't work properly, and peptidases break down the insulin. So we are not giving them orally, so we are transferring this ineffective orally. So we are giving as insulin now injective form, that is IV. So subcutaneous. So enteric coated tablets, sustained release preparations are formed nowadays for the tablets, that is enteric coat, so that it can prevent its breakdown in our stomach by HCl, and sustained release because sometimes it may cause peaks in our body, so we need to maintain all this. Next, coming to luminal effect. Luminal effect is nothing but if we take some drug along with some other drug, it may cause some effect, that is luminal effect. So it is caused mainly by other drugs. If we take two drugs simultaneously, then it may cause some luminal effect. It is insoluble complexes. Example, you can take tetracycline with ferrum and antacids, and phenytoin with sucralfate. So these are like not good to take at a time, so it prevent a gap. So to prevent this, we need to take gap of at least 2 to 3 hours between two tablets or any other tablets. So alteration of gut florability by antibiotics. Sometimes there is some disturbance by antibiotics which disturb the enterohepatic cycling of oral contraceptive and digoxin. This we already discussed detail in our revision series, right? So which alter the motility, that is anticholinergics, tricyclic antidepressants, opioids, metoclopramide. Mucosal damage is also done by neomycin, methotrexate, vinblastine, etc. So subcutaneous and intramuscular route, which directly enter the capillaries, not absorbed orally, which cannot absorb orally, can be given by this route, that is parenterally. So both are better than the oral, but the subcutaneous is slower because we can rapid it by heat, exercise, blood flow. All this increase the amount of absorption. And subcutaneous examples are like benzathine, penicillin, protamine, zinc, insulin, and depot progestins, etc. So next, coming to topical sites, like ointments, all this. So on skin, cornea, mucous membrane, the main dependent on lipid solubility, because it is directly applying on the cell membrane like thing. So example, you can take nitroglycerin, myocycline, etc. So here the clonide, estradiol, corticosteroids, pituitary adrenal suppression, organophosphates causing toxicity, tannic acid on the burnt skin cause hepatic necrosis, and cornea is lipid soluble. It takes up lipid soluble drugs, unionized physoctimine. So lipid soluble like mucous membrane of mouth, rectum, vagina, all these areas also we can give these drugs. lipid soluble drugs. So estrogenium, that is cream, estrogen cream using on the vagina, causing gynecomastia in male partners. So all this can be like side effects, or so we need to find out all this. So now let us check out bioavailability. So first we check out that graph in the bioavailability. Next, under the theory part, so here you can see the plasma concentration time curves. Plasma concentration is something but blood concentration, here the time, depicting the bioavailability difference between three preparations of a drug containing the same amount. So you can see A, B, C are are nothing but having three preparation of drug containing the same amount. Same amount of drug is present, but their therapeutic concentration, their therapeutic effect is changing. Note that the formulation of B is more slowly absorbed than A. So B is slowly absorbed, so you can see like a peak is formed, and A is highly absorbed, so you can see the concentration has increased suddenly. And though ultimately both are absorbed to the same extent, area under the curve is same. So you can see, but if we measure the area under curve, it will be same even though they are absorbed in different levels. So B may not produce therapeutic effect. C is absorbed to a lesser extent and having lower bioavailability. So by these graphs like this, we can measure how what is happening, at which time we are giving this effect, and how it is absorbing. So all this we can understand by the process of bioavailability. So let us check out the content of bioavailability now. It is nothing but the rate and extent of drug absorption from the dose of concentration, that is the time curve in the blood and its excretion in the urine. So it is mainly measured by fraction of the drug which reaches the circulation in an unchanged form. So bioavailability is nothing but the amount of drug which is absorbed into the circulation, systemic circulation. So here IV route have 100% bioavailability, and the oral have incomplete absorption, and the first pass metabolism in the intestinal wall, liver, excretion in the bile, all this takes place. So subcutaneous or intramuscular is incomplete, that is bioavailability is due to binding of drug. So here it is mainly incomplete because of binding of drug. And chemically equivalent drug is nothing but biologically inequivalent, that is sometimes a drug may have same amount of concentration in it, but two different drugs have biologically inequivalent, that is they show different disintegration and dissolution or different absorption levels in different human bodies. So you can see difference in bioavailabilities is due to different variation in the disintegration and dissolution rates. Next, coming to example, if there is low size, example aspirin, if it is lesser size, that is known as microfin. So microfin is having higher rate of absorption because aspirin is very big. So if it decrease its size as microfin, then it is having higher amount of absorption. Next, coming to the grisofulin and spironolactone, these are half if the microfin. So these are very big actually. So if we do microfining, they are getting into half of the size, so having a higher amount of absorption. Next, coming to no need to decrease the size for free water soluble drugs, for example paracetamol. So it can be taken as it is and having higher amount of absorption. Next, coming to low safety drugs like digoxin, and also we are having precise control like oral hypoglycemia, anticoagulants, and sometimes because of this we may also have success or failure of antimicrobial regimen. And for large number of bioavailability it is negligible, and the risk of changing formulation is also exaggerated. So this is all about overview or fast revision of our textbook pharmacokinetics introduction and its absorption.